email marketing works. Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to Brian J. Pombo Live. I'm here to tell you email marketing does work. It works on a lot of different levels. And it even works when you're dealing with a cold audience. So I want to talk about that first, but before I even get into that, I want to talk about the principle of email marketing. The principle of email marketing, it works like all forms of marketing. It's about being consistent. It's about being there in front of people on a regular basis. It's about being seen and giving people an option of a call to action, giving them something to do that will eventually lead to hopefully sales if you're in business, or donations if you're in charity, or whatever you're looking for people to do. Email can help you do it. And I've seen it on a lot of levels, on a very low end level and on a very high end level. So let me talk about some of those things. Cold email marketing, what we're talking about when we're talking about that is when you're working with an audience that does not directly know you. How do you get away with that? There are so many laws regarding spam and so forth, especially in the United States. This is very common. And the only form of cold email marketing that is really legitimate in terms of being completely cold is when you're talking business to business. So if you're trying to reach people who own businesses or organizations, you can reach out to them directly when they have a public email address. It's real easy to do because they're out there, they're open, they want to hear from people. And once you have their email address, or you're sending it via a contact form on their website, that can be done also. When you're doing that, you can start having a conversation that you wouldn't have had before. I did this years ago when we were testing out some cold email marketing within my business, and it was fun. It was really interesting. It's difficult to get a person's attention if they don't know who you are or what you're about. And if you come straight in with a hot pitch, unless it's really something that people are after, they're probably not going to bite. You kind of have to start that relationship in a very straightforward way without being too sales oriented, I found. In general, these things, it all depends on exactly what you're trying to do, but cold email marketing can work if done legally and ethically and so forth. Another thing with email marketing that most people talk about when they're discussing email marketing is having that permission marketing. I think that term was coined by who was it that coined that term? Of course, his name slipped my mind. A famous marketing. This is professionalism right here. Absolute professionalism. In fact, he has a book called Permission Marketing. I've read that book, and it's very good. The whole idea of permission marketing is someone's giving you permission to market to them, which works in perfectly with email, because email, unless you want to be marked as spam, or unless you want to work only with businesses and public-facing institutions, email requires permission. So once you have that permission, you can market to them over and over and over again until they revoke the permission via unsubscribe, So you have to, there's always a way to be able to do that, to get people onto your list and to start the conversation that way via email. But really, that continued conversation is what matters most in email. I've got a handful of people who I don't read every single email they put out, but they're putting out emails all the time, and I see that they're putting out emails. Their name pops up in front of me. That what they're talking about pops up, even if I don't consciously read it, something's getting in there from them. And the same thing will happen for you if you're doing email consistently. I highly recommend following the Ben Settle method or the Matt Fury method. There's all these marketers that have been around for quite a while that have discussed emailing consistently, like on a daily basis consistently, or multiple times a day, and making sure that you have a very clear call to action, something specific for people to do every time, because people aren't going to read every one. In most cases, unless you're extremely entertaining, you may get somebody hooked on you and they'll read over and over and over again. There's ways to go about doing that. But in general, people are going to go through periods where they're not going to read everything that you send. But as long as they don't unsubscribe, you're still marketing to them, even if it's just via the subject line on, and they're just seeing it very briefly. But it's a great way to keep in contact with people. Those are my favorite ways for email, and there's more traditional ways, the newsletter and other things of that sort that you can put out on a semi-regular basis, and it does have some effect. But real email marketing is underutilized. It's not used often enough, and because of that, people do have too much stuff in their email box, and I think over time, fewer and fewer companies are going to use email just because they get attracted by other things, other shiny objects, social media and so forth. And so it's going to be, I think, similar to snail mail, so your postal mail, to where there's going to be more room. There's going to be more room for competition. You're going to be able to reach people easier as time goes on. I think the thing people really look for is something genuine, something valuable, even if it's just entertainment. If you have really entertaining emails on a regular basis, you can't pass that up. And if you offer some form of content, that makes a big difference. And content marketing is huge, and it doesn't matter what the medium is. So if you're wondering whether content marketing, if you haven't done any of it yet, and you're wondering if it's right for you, I have a training on that. You go to my website and check it out, contentmarketingquestion.com. The content marketing question is, should we even do content marketing? And so you can get that answered by watching my training, contentmarketingquestion.com. That's all I have for tonight. We'll see you next time. In the meantime, get out there and let the magic happen.